Good afternoon, good evening, good morning, Facebook, wherever you are. This is the Repurposing Show with myself and Tina Shang. Hello, Tina.
Hello, Stephen.
And we have a special guest today. So, hello, Tim.
Hello. How are you guys?
We're good. Now, where are you joining us from?
I am actually in Alabama. I am just south of Tina, probably 45 minutes to an hour, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Yep. Pretty close.
Yep.
We're neighbors.
It's a small world.
Two Southern accents today.
Well, you know
I can
what?
cope with that. And then...
You guys have more of an accent than I do, but I could certainly be more Southern if you need me to. I've got it. I just don't use it.
Unfortunately, I don't do it on purpose.
Well, I can only do an English accent, so we'll have to put it.
Well, I
Anyway.
do a very bad English accent, so.
It's all right. As David and Ross and Jeff will attest, I do a terrible American accent, so I'm not even going to go there. And okay, for David's benefit, hello, David. We are today, Tina, who you already know, you met earlier, Tim Knox, and myself.
Yep. Tim is my neighbor down in Alabama.
All right. So, all right. You don't need to know who I am. I mean, we'll leave that a mystery. Now, we're talking today on the Repurposing Show, which we're now in our fourth week, I think, aren't we? Which is good going. And we're going to talk to Tim. Now, Tim, my first question is, could you tell us something about the Digital Entrepreneur Show?
Sure. Yeah, it is kind of a show that's born out of my journey and my co-hosts, Professor Nez and Steve Gamlin. We're all digital entrepreneurs. I actually come from the offline space. I was in retail for many years. I owned a software company, but primarily all of my business interests are online now. And Steve is a speaker and an author, and he's doing a lot of academic who also is an entrepreneur and does things online. And we're just chatting one day over, and we said, we should get on and just talk about our journey. And that was the genesis of the show. Basically, we talk about digital entrepreneurship and how any entrepreneur, be them online or off, can use the digital space to start, run, grow a business, find new customers. And we talk about everything digital: websites, blogs, social media, live video, recorded video. Space to improve his business is what we talk about.
Yep.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, I've caught the show and enjoyed watching. It takes a while to get these things going.
It really does.
I think we need to explain to people, this is a little bit of a hybrid production that you're doing here. And so initially the show is recorded, and then you have kind of Walking Dead style follow-up show. Which would be talking about, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes the shows are a lot like The Walking Dead. It really just depends. What we do is we had started off initially talking about doing a live show, but my background as far as YouTube and video is in the production side. I had a company that's what we did for a long time. So we decided to kind of hybridize it. So we release 2 recorded shows. They come out on Tuesday and Friday at noon Pacific time. And then we do a live in-between shows chat. And typically we do that sometimes Wednesday afternoon. We're still working out the time on that because, like I said, all 3 hosts, we're all in different time zones. We're all very busy. And, so we're going to try to do the live show in between the recorded shows. We're also doing a separate show we call the one-on-one interviews, where rather than the 3 of us having a guest on and trying to interview them, we'll do one-on-one where I interview someone by myself, Steve interviews someone, and that sort of thing. So, it's kind of what you guys talk about. It is a creation and repurposing of all that content into recorded live video. We also have a podcast. We also do little bits and clips here and there. So it's very much going to be a repurpose
I'm sorry.
Too soon.
as soon as I put that was the death knell. As soon as I put that on the screen, Tim froze. Now that's serendipity.
He's slowly coming back to us. That was really hysterical, Tim.
What happened?
Stephen put a comment up that he wrote that says Tim's output is improving, and then you immediately froze like as soon as it went on the screen. It was really hilarious.
Okay.
That's an outtake. So Tim, welcome back. I won't do that again, I promise.
The beauty of live.
Oh yeah.
You were talking about how you're repurposing content across platforms with the Digital Entrepreneur Show. So I think you got as far as saying you have a podcast and then you froze. So. Okay.
Don't you love it when you just keep talking and you're wondering if people can hear anything you say? What we're doing is we're coming out with the 2 recorded shows, and then we do a live show in between. Then we also we record the live show and we post that to our YouTube channel as well. We've got a live playlist there. And then we take the recorded shows and we take the audio from that and we podcast it. We're on SoundCloud and iTunes, and we're set to go on Spreaker and several others. So I've always been a big proponent of repurposing. Back when I used to write a newspaper column, and I would repurpose that into books, into blogs, that sort of thing. And so that's what we're trying to do with this, is just generate a ton of really good content and then repurpose it in all manner that people can enjoy.
And people consume content in different ways. And so you put a lot of work, presumably most of us do anyway, we put a lot of work into our content, right? There's a lot of thought and planning before you get to the finished product that you have. And so to put that on one medium and forget it, you're doing yourself a disservice, number one, because you put all the work into this, but you're not reaching the people that you could, because some people prefer to consume as a podcast, right? They're busy, they're working, they're driving, they can't watch a video. Some people, believe it or not, there are people who aren't on Facebook. Stephen and I talked about this before. There are people who aren't here. Yes, there are almost 2 billion users on Facebook, but not everyone is here, and not everyone is consuming live video that is here. And so to utilize these and to chunk it, because again, if you've got an hour-long program, not everyone is going to be interested in consuming an hour-long program. But if you can pull out pieces and put those in various places.
I'm sorry, you cut out there.
I was just saying, if you can take pieces, 10, 15 minute or even 5-minute chunks and put them in other places, people who don't want to consume the long form stuff will then consume that. So I think it's a very smart, the way that you're approaching the new program in particular, because that's kind of what you have to do. You have to sprinkle the seeds out there when you're doing something new.
Yeah, well, you do. You have to think, and you hit the nail right on the head. You have to think like your audience or your customer. What is it they expect from you, and in what form is the best way to give that to them? So, we do exactly what you said with the recorded shows, which are always on YouTube. That's the thing I love about YouTube. The content is always there, but they can consume those either on YouTube, they can watch them on our Facebook page, or they can listen to the podcast. They can download it, carry it with them wherever they go. But yeah, what we also do is we take every show, which is 30 minutes in length, and we cut up 5-minute chunks, and we actually use those chunks to put the content out there, but we also use them to promote the show. We'll put those on Facebook. Here's a quick clip of this coming Friday show or what have you. So, but again, it also creates more content that we can put on YouTube to increase our frequency of publication as well.
Yep, your sound dropped out there. After the frequency of publication, your sound dropped out.
Yeah, I was just saying that what we do with those clips is we also put those on YouTube, so it looks like we're actually publishing content more frequently. And so that, of course, will help you move ranks and that sort of thing at YouTube.
Brilliant. Yeah.
I should have just driven up to your house, Tina. We could have done this from there.
Absolutely.
Well,
we've discovered it's a small world because you live within an hour of each other. And
Tullahoma is what's the biggest town near you, Tina?
We are about an hour from Chattanooga and about an hour, 15 minutes from Nashville, about 40 minutes from Murfreesboro, about 40 minutes from Huntsville. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're probably, we're 45 minutes away. I've actually been to Tullahoma. So, yeah, we're neighbors.
Why in the world did you come here?
You know, there used to be a big furniture store or something up there. What was it Hammers or there was some
Hammers was and still is actually in Winchester, which is like 15 minutes from here.
Okay, well then I've been close to Tullahoma.
You came through Tullahoma to
I came
Winchester,
through,
probably. Yeah.
I didn't stop. I just kept going.
Right. And April lives in Knoxville, so it is increasingly small world.
Oh, all these wonderful southern.
Okay, now if we move over onto audio, there's a question that's coming from Robert Myers, and hopefully this is going to be true throughout the program, Tim. Your audio is very crisp. Which microphone are you using? And that's at that point.
He is frozen.
It's frozen for a moment. Yes. You'll be back in a minute.
Okay.
Right. Okay.
I'm sorry. You guys went into a fishbowl on me.
All right. Okay. Are you back now?
Yeah, I never left.
All right. Okay. No, did we? And
yeah.
Everybody watching, thank you for your patience. So the question was, your audio is very crisp. Which microphone are you using? Because obviously, if we're getting into audio territory, microphone is important.
Yeah, when the audio comes through, it's really good. This is a Heil PR40. This is actually a higher end mic, and this is probably about $400. Right. I have this because I was in radio for many years, and I've always used Heil mics. It's a silly thing, but I do a lot of podcasting, and I needed something that I could really control. I run this through a mixing board, and the sound is really crisp and clear. So when I'm not using this, I actually use like a $69 Blue Snowball. But for when I want crisp sound, I'll use the Heil.
And I use the Blue Snowball. So yeah, that's what I've got over here.
Yeah, and I've done sound comparisons. I mean, just coming out of the mic, the Blue Snowball sounds about as good as the expensive Heil. But like I said, I use this for other things, so that's why I went with this.
We're going from $400 to between $100 and $200 down to $40. My mic is a lapel mic costing $40, but I'm not a professional broadcaster. All I want is reasonable quality. Now, what's your take on the new Facebook audio feature?
On the new on the Facebook audio?
Yeah.
I guess when it works, it's great. Okay. I'm not really familiar with it, to be honest. I haven't done a whole lot of live, as you can probably tell. Professor Nez is our resident live expert, and he's always using it and doing things with it. I think Facebook is basically going to become the leader in all things live. Like Twitch is now, you're going to see live broadcasts from Facebook. And I think as the technology gets better and that sort of thing, Facebook, I think Facebook is just kind of going to become the place to do things. Although I don't think they'll ever do anything as nice as BeLive does. I think this platform that you guys are on, I'm not overly familiar with it, but it does seem to have a lot more functionality than other platforms I've seen. So to be honest with you, I'm just waiting for live video to get to a point where it works as good as produced video. And then, I'll dive in with both feet.
Yeah, I think, the one thing that you don't have with live that you have with produced video is just that ability to tweak it and make it perfect, right? Because we're here live and audio comes in and out and people's computers crash and, kids come running through the background or whatever happens and you can't edit it out on the fly.
Right.
With what we have now. And that's not to say that you won't be able to in the future, because who knows? But for now, you can't. I don't know if you've been able to try, because not everyone has it yet, but Facebook has Facebook Live audio. And so there's no video attached to it. It's audio only. And and for myself and for the few people I know who have it and have tried it, it's been very buggy. So it's dropping us out, it's the phone's resetting itself. It's doing all these crazy things. So I've not been able to do a live audio broadcast for more than 30 seconds before it cuts me off. I think. Yeah.
That's I think that's the biggest problem with all these live platforms is the software may be sound, but you are at the mercy of the connectivity. If I'm here and my internet keeps going up and down, it's not really Facebook's fault. But, one thing that I have seen Facebook is when I try to watch a replay of a live video, whenever I get a notification in Facebook, it freezes the video. So I think they still have a lot of bugs to work out all the way around. It's not perfect now, but boy, it's a lot better than it was just a year ago.
Yeah, for sure.
Indeed, it is improving all the time. But the situation was that if we go back 6 or 7 months, when you downloaded the video, it used to be HD, real HD. Mm-hmm. Now you're 640 by 380, and that's the best you're going to get. Because obviously there's a server cost attached to storing high definition.
Yeah, so if you do go, that's something that people need to be mindful of if they're repurposing. And we've mentioned this before. If you are going live to Facebook as opposed to going live to YouTube, when you do download the video after you're finished with the broadcast, it will not be in HD if you're broadcasting live to Facebook. So when you keep that in mind for when you're repurposing, you're not going to have a high def video to repurpose unless you are also recording it locally on your machine. So then you have a recording that's in HD that you can use. I think Tim may have frozen again.
Tim is frozen. Tim, if you can still hear us, we'd love to continue the conversation. We'll wait for a few seconds for you to come back. If you've still got a problem, then if you could refresh and come back in, because we've got a very interesting question from Mark, which I think you and I can take, Tina, which is from our friend Mark, who met us on the show a couple of weeks ago. And Mark's comment is still undecided on whether live video looks good enough to work for some brands. I think that's the point, isn't it? That the live video quality at the moment is not broadcast quality, and we don't mind that.
Yeah, well, I don't think brands do. You see big name brands and you see prestigious brands already doing live, and the thing is, no, it's not production quality, but your audience does not expect it to be production quality when you come through live on social media. They're looking for the engagement with the brand that they love and not for production quality. They don't care about that. So I think live is right, not only right for everyone, but I think if you have a business and you're not using it, then you're missing the boat, like big time. So
I agree. And Tim, you now seem to be real time.
I'm sorry?
You're now back with us.
Yes. Yeah. You guys just completely blanked out on me for a little bit there. I think I'm back now.
Yep, you're back. And Mark.
And Jordan's comment is right on. I think it's that he's exactly right. People are looking for authenticity and transparency from all brands and from all, not just brands in the commercial sense of things, but, in their government, in their organizations, in the businesses that they work for. This is something that people are coming to expect, is to have a sense of transparency and authenticity coming from wherever it is. It's not just the commercial entities. So I think that's true. And I think personally, I think live is for everyone, period. I don't care if you're in business or not. There are reasons, I think that's the question you have to ask is, why are you doing it? Like, what's my why? Why am I here? And once you figure that out, then go for it. Have fun with it.
I think the biggest point there is the connectivity you have with your audience, because that's one thing Nez and I talk about all the time, because I'm a big fan of produced video, but when you do live video, you can actually interact And I think that's very important, whether you're a big brand or a business or a celebrity or personality or whatever. Going live puts you directly in touch with your audience. And I think that helps you not only build your brand, but build the relationship with that audience.
Absolutely. And that's something that wasn't really possible until now, not on the scale that it is, and the availability it is. So certainly celebrities and brands who had the money to spend that it took to produce a live broadcast and to have that kind of connectivity could make it happen. But now literally anyone can do it. So the mom and pop businesses can do it. The person that's not yet a personality, but they're wanting to build their personal brand, you can do it. It doesn't take a lot of money. It just takes the time and the willingness to put yourself out there. So we talked with Tim about kind of some of the repurposing that he's doing. One of the things that Stephen and I like to talk about, in addition to how we're repurposing, are the tools that we're using to help us do that, so that it's not so time consuming. So I'm assuming that you're not doing all of this by hand, like one at a time. You're not posting every little thing, stripping it out, taking it and posting it on this platform and then this one and then this one, or are you? How are you doing that? And what kind of tools do you use to help you with it?
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay,
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
You dropped out. You dropped. I think you were asking me what tools that I was using.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. At the moment, what I'm doing is we are just producing each video. We're storing them up on YouTube and we're scheduling them to go live. When we really aren't doing anything on Facebook yet, other than just putting those direct links from the YouTube videos onto Facebook. I have experimented with uploading videos directly to Facebook, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. So for right now, we're just embedding. But again, I think once we get to the point where we're putting out that much content, we're going to have to look at different ways of doing that, so it doesn't turn into such a manual, pain in my backside. Because right now, I'm doing all the recording, all the editing, which is just minimal. But
right, we've got a technical issue.
And that's
the joys of live. Whilst we're waiting for Tim to come back, as he undoubtedly will, just to rewind, Cara said unmarketing, and our friend John Upton said, "What's unmarketing?" And I don't know, Cara, if you're around, do you want to? All right, okay, we've got an explanation here, which I'll read out. John, it's a Carism, though I'm not sure it's been coined. I meant that for decades, brands have polished, wrapped up and packaged a super is hungry for the real, organic, messy humanity, storytelling and real talk. Now I'm just going to put it on the screen so it shows up on the replay, but the text may be tiny. So I'm going to leave it on the replay for a second or two. So if you do watch the replay, you can actually stop it and just read the text and carry on.
Yeah, and it is a term that has been coined, that is used, and also unschooling. And so basically it's kind of just throwing out or turning on its head what you think of in terms of traditional education and in terms of unschooling or traditional marketing, where you have, as you said, that polished, packaged thing. And instead you're focusing on relationships and on authenticity and being real. So that's exactly right. It's exactly what we're talking about is unmarketing. Just not everyone calls it that, but I think it's a pretty common term. I've heard it for a few years now, along with unschooling. And so Cara was an unschooler. So there you go. She's got that whole mindset.
Ah, right. Okay. Now we're getting into vernacular. We're getting to understand the new terms, and that's brilliant. And I've got, no, I haven't. Yes, I have. Right. Whilst we're waiting for Tim to come back, he's on his way. We've got Corinda in the lobby, and I'd like to bring Corinda on just to ask his question, and then we'll pose it to Tim. Okay. So bear with us a moment, and we'll say hello to Corinda while Tim sorts himself out. Hello, Corinda. You said you had a question for Tim.
Yeah. I just want to ask what software do you want using for a broadcast?
Okay, we'll pass. What does Tim use for his podcasting? And we'll ask Tim that question. Thank you for joining us, Corinda. And now, hopefully, fingers crossed, everybody. Thank you, Corinda. We should be able to bring Tim back. 3, 2, 1. Tim. Yes.
Hello again.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Right.
So John Corinder asked, his question was posed for Tim, who's back with us. So he asked, what software do you use for your podcasting?
What I do is when we record the show, we actually use Zoom to record the show, and that gives me a raw video file. It also gives me an audio file. I then take that into a program called Sony Vegas, and I do all my editing in Vegas. You can do your video and editing there, and then it's just a matter of sticking in the little intro with a little music behind it and exporting that out as an MP3. And then I use a software or a website called SoundCloud. And SoundCloud lets me upload the audio, set up a channel, and then I get that RSS feed and I feed that into iTunes and Spreaker and any number. So most of my editing is done with Sony Vegas for both the audio and video. Although a lot of people use Audacity for audio, which works just as well. So fortunately, easier than it used to be. Now it's just a matter of generating a file and uploading it back in the and hire a program and hope that it went up. And so simple, just use Sony Vegas.
Yeah, my sons actually, they're gamers and they use Sony Vegas and they have been using it for quite a few years now. So I feel like, Stephen, we have to ask Tim if he's aware of repurposing.io.
Indeed.
I am not, but I was hoping you would tell me about it.
That's the only introduction we needed, Tina.
Yes. If you are going to be, which you are already, distributing your content to various channels, including a blog and podcasting services and YouTube and Facebook and all those different things. The repurposing.io can automate that, much of that for you. And it actually will even automatically take your video and strip out the audio and create a beautiful, it's still a video, but it's a beautiful audio video, and it has a little sound wave that goes across it and an image of your choice. So you can use templates they have, or you can create your own template, and it does it beautifully. You can literally automate everything you're doing. And then Stephen, being the brilliant person that he is, has also implemented if this then that with repurpose.io and made it even more robust in the things that you can do with it. And he's using it like, I don't even know. He has so many things going on in this software that is amazing, and mine's this big compared to his. So,
Tim, the number of shows that you do is increasing.
It is.
It is increasing. Tim, I basically do 5 or 6 shows a week on Facebook Live, mainly on BeLive.tv, some on Smart, and one on Smart Time. And I've got basically set up routes. And the route can go from Facebook to YouTube. So it takes the video straight across. A route can go to SoundCloud, in which case, as Tina just said, Repurpose will create the MP3, upload that to SoundCloud. You can upload a copy to Google Drive or Dropbox. So you don't need to download it yourself. They use the API to do the loading for you. Which means that you've then got a copy you can bring down and you can edit and repurpose. So it's saving you the download and upload time, which is basically what Repurpose is about. I've been using the program for about 2 months now, and it saves me about 7 hours a week in editing. So there's a 14-day trial. So, but we wouldn't pretend to be, Tina and I wouldn't pretend to be professional broadcasters. So not getting anything you've told us before about downloading it, editing it properly, using Sony Vegas, and then basically taking segments to repurpose on YouTube with all with that. But I just want to come back to one point that you said a moment ago, Tim, and that the center of your audio universe is SoundCloud. Now, why did you choose SoundCloud to the place with your main repository?
You know, I have been using SoundCloud for years. I have another podcast using SoundCloud, gosh, I guess 4 or 5 years ago. And the thing that I really like about SoundCloud, and there are several services that do this, but I only use SoundCloud, is it's a very easy interface. Once you have the page set up, you just upload your videos or your audio files, and then you set it up on iTunes and Spreaker and all the others, and it's just automatic. You know, I can use SoundCloud and upload that podcast one time, and it goes out to all of these other venues. And right. So I've done hundreds of podcasts using SoundCloud, and have never had the first issue. It always works great, and so I'm a huge fan.
Well, that's what you want. You want stability, don't you? And could you give us some idea of the cost of SoundCloud? Right. Okay. Whilst we wait for Tim to come back, if anybody has,
no, I think he's like, I still see movement from his end, but I don't think he's picking up what we're saying.
All right. Okay.
You're. I'm sorry. Yeah, you're coming through. It's like it's the fishbowl. It's all garbled. I'm sorry.
So
try
can
again.
You hear me?
I can hear you just fine. Yeah.
Okay. It's
at the moment,
because we're in the South, so we can hear each other. Is that it?
Yeah, I can hear Tina. And
That's it.
Yeah. Okay.
So his question, if you didn't hear,
yes,
was what is the cost associated with SoundCloud?
You know, that's a really good question. I just pay it a year at a time, but I mean, it's really, it's nominal for what it does for me. It may be, gosh, I want to say $14 a month, but I think that may even be an overestimate.
Yeah.
It's really super duper affordable.
Yeah, I think it's less than $100 if you pay annually, and that's for unlimited storage, isn't it? And in fact, thank you, Tara, for saying that it's the basic service is free, and there is a pro level. And as Tim just said, that's about $8 a month. And Terry says SoundCloud is to be loved. And Cara, I experimented this weekend with a similar workflow. And even in the free level, upload was free, and the RSS was created for iTunes, etc. So we have three shout-outs for SoundCloud. So we bring SoundCloud back on the screen. If you're going to go, just hide that and hopefully bring that back. I've broken it. I've broken the machine. This happens. Right. Okay.
So you mentioned that you do a podcast that you've done for years on interviewing authors. And I got to tell you, if you have had in the past, or you do have Stephen King on, I need to be there.
I've had enamored. I've had some big names. I've had Mary Higgins Clark. I mean, some really heavy names. Getting Stephen King on the phone, not so lucky there. So, but if you go to interviewingauthors.com.
I'll check it out.
Diana Gabaldon, who wrote the
Outlander. Big fan of hers too.
Good ones, but no Stephen King.
I've been reading him since I was 12. So I'm
sorry?
I've been reading Stephen King since I was 12. So I'm a huge fan.
So am I. And I've broken the comment system. So we'll report that to the team at Be Live. So I can't bring any comments.
Well, I see John's comment now.
You can see John's comment.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. If I hide it, has it gone now? It's fixed now.
Can't hear you guys.
Somebody's watching.
Oh, no.
So, no. Okay.
Yeah, we're just having seems like we're in and out with the
comments. Okay. Well, these things happen. They're here to try us. And John's off to his he's got an allotment, so he's off to his allotment in the sunshine, which we have in the UK at the moment. Right. Okay. Now, if you were advising somebody to set up for broadcasting, Tim, what first steps would you say they should take?
To set up.
Yeah. Oh. So I know you're moving, Tina. We can hear you now. Yes. Go.
Can you hear me now? I feel like the Verizon guy. I think the first thing that before you go live or do anything is figure out, do you really have something to say? You know, just because you have the ability to go live does not mean you really need to take advantage of that ability. Because, I mean, we've all seen these folks who just get on live and just ramble. And, you know, I'm glad that your life is going great. I'm glad you're in the drive-thru at Starbucks, et cetera. But to me, using live to do that sort of thing, it's almost like a daily vlog. But even the most popular vlogs have a purpose and a message of content. So the good news is it's easy to go live now on Facebook. I think YouTube Live is rolling out to everybody. But I would play with it. I would experiment. I would see, you know, what best suits your needs. But I think the big thing is the question is, why do you want to go live? And what do you have to say? And who do you have to say that to? And I do agree with Tina. If you're a business person, an entrepreneur, going live is a great way to promote the business and get people in the door. I think it's just a great way to, you know, to pick up your cell phone and say, hey, we've got 8 tables open here at the pizza place. Come on down. You know, it's a great way to get the word out and communicate. But, you know, you just pick a platform and just try it. And I think the de facto platform that everybody uses is on Facebook.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, you know, a lot of people get stuck with, well, what do I do? Like, you know, you say have a purpose. What do you do as a business? And one thing that I won't say not any business, because there are some businesses that we don't want to see what's going on behind the scenes, right? So I don't want to see what's going on at the slaughterhouse. But for the most part, people really like to see behind the scenes things from the businesses that they frequent. You know, so if you have, like, I was speaking to one of my friends this morning who owns a little furniture boutique on the square in Winchester. And, you know, they do all kinds of restoration of furniture, and they do cool little techniques to refinish furniture and stuff. And so he does quite often, he goes live and just shows people what they're working on, and people love it. And if you ever go live on your business page, you can see the interaction and engagement on your personal page, but you can literally see it in the insights on your business page. All you have to do is go live once, and you'll see that post is almost guaranteed to outperform everything else you've done prior to that live post. And that is not necessarily because what you did was awesome. It's just because Facebook's algorithm favors live. So if you do something awesome, I have more engagement. But.
Yeah, I have a friend who does a daily show. In fact, you may know him, Tom Rigsby, and he does this thing he called 7 Minutes in the Morning. And basically it's him sitting on his front porch, you know, at his house here, and he's got his iPhone and he turns it on. And for 7 minutes, he gives a motivational message. And he's actually building a pretty sizable audience just sitting on his front porch with his iPhone in the morning, going live on Facebook for 7 minutes. And he also does a radio show here, and he Facebook Lives that. People that can't hear the radio show directly can actually hear him broadcast it live over Facebook. So he's reaching an audience he wouldn't otherwise have.
Absolutely. And you know, I don't know if anyone knows Jamie Primack Sullivan. She's kind of celebrity. She was on a reality TV thing for a while. But she has 500,000 followers on Facebook. She does a coffee talk every morning, and she just gets on and talks about whatever it is that's pissed her off the day before, or, you know, just whatever. It's random topics, but it's at the same time she's having her coffee. Half the time she's in her pajamas, and she's just hanging out and talking to her friends and telling them about, you know, what it is that's got her riled up, or whatever it is she's wanting to talk about that day. And she has a huge following. I've never gone on and seen more than 300 or 400 live viewers watching at a time. So she has a massive following.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, there is an audience there. I mean, we've on Be Live TV, the largest audience we've seen so far. Well, live was over 200,000, and the cumulative at the end was about 225,000. And that's the gentleman we introduced to Be Live TV about 4 weeks ago.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the weekly show's got plenty of views. The audience is out there. Now, I've got a question. If I press that button there, can you see Jordan's comment?
Yes.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yes.
I can't, you see. Okay, so I'm going to read it out. And it says, local businesses have a huge opportunity with live video, but most are missing it. So many ideas. He's got many ideas for your attention. Well, that's brilliant. I mean, one of the things we do love about live video is the interaction. Because as somebody said earlier, you're now in a situation where brands have got to be real. You cannot be plastic. You cannot be homogenized. You cannot be, you've got to be real and be yourself.
So the comments are not showing up to our audience, unfortunately.
All right.
We have to remember to read them if we address them. But
okay. Well, what I'm going to do, I'm going to try this. Let's go for this. If I don't come back, thank you everybody for watching.
Good to see you.
whilst the two of you are on screen, the broadcast won't disappear. Okay. I'm just going to drop down in a moment. I'll come back. So now would be a good time to tell Tim about I'll Be Live in 5.
So yeah. Stephen mentioned Be Live in 5 before he dropped out. So I'm not sure if Tim's aware of this or not, but we started a new program yesterday. We launched. It's called Be Live in 5, and it's a personal mentoring program for people coming to the Be Live platform. So if you are interested in using the platform and have not used it before, or perhaps you've been on as only a guest and you're interested in using it for broadcasting, you can now get a one-to-one mentoring from Stephen, myself, or one of the other mentors who are involved in this program to help walk you through going live. And then we will also go live with you for the first time. And that's really one of the scariest things, right? Is when you go live for the very first time, if you have to do that by yourself, it's very intimidating. It's much easier to do this when you have a guest or co-host. So Be Live in 5 is you can just look for the Facebook page and send us a message and say, hey, I want to go live with Be Live. Can you help me? And one of the mentors will help you out. So I don't know what platforms you use, Tim, but I would venture to guess that there's not another platform offering one-on-one mentoring for the use of their platforms.
Right, I'm back.
So, welcome back, Stephen. I don't know if Tim is frozen again for me.
I think he is, yeah. I think just to catch up with the comments, because the comments are working.
Okay, good.
So thank you, Corinda and Andrew. And they should now be showing, because what I did, this is something that's changed in recent months, is that these platforms are now very robust. And as host of this, I can refresh, and Tim and Tina were able to carry on talking, because the show is not totally in the control of the host. The host can go down, come back up, and it's, as Jordan said, it's very cool, but I don't think he was referring to what I just said.
I think he's probably talking about the mentoring program. That's what I was talking about before.
Yeah. So that's the Be Live in 5 mentoring program. And if you want more information, then you can catch the broadcast that Tina and I did yesterday, which is in the Be Livers group, which is the group you should be in if you're want to know anything about BeLive.tv. Search Be Livers in Facebook, and you can join the group. And okay, now Tim's gone. Corinda says he can hear me, but he can't see me. Jordan's saying yes. We've got to the crazy section of the show now, where, well, our guest has gone. We're still here. We can hear each other. We can show.
Yes, I can see you, but they can't see you.
Ah, right. Okay.
That's very strange.
If you can see me, can you put your hands up, please? That's not going to work either, is it? And Cara's saying, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Well, no, I agree with that one. And Jordan as well. Now, Tina and I will be back again at the same time next week while we wait for Tim to return this week. And if you have your own ideas on repurposing.
Do you have me as solo, maybe?
Oh, just a minute. Sorry, yes.
Okay. So there we go.
So when I put my hand in the air now, you can see me. So if everybody waves, you can see me. That was my fault. Okay. Blame the producer. I'm producing the show today. Right. Okay. So I'm back. Mention of I had something similar last night using Smile Time where my guests could hear and see each other, but only I could hear and see one of them. Strange glitch. Well, I mean, the thing about this, and we're going to keep coming back this time and again, is that this live video, which Be Live and Smile Time makes simple, is very complicated. There's a big black box, and we know what goes in is our video and our audio separately, and what comes out is the combined signal currently with Tina and I on screen. Now, we don't know what happens in the black box. We've no control over that. And what we do know, though, is that 99% of the time. Right, okay, now. And Corinda says, I'm not hiding anymore. Right.
Yeah,
now,
I see us on I've got it opened on my other computer. And so, yeah, both of us are there now. I think Tim is not going to make it back in. His thing is frozen up. So hopefully he'll come back and join us another time and with a better connection.
Yes, surely. Right. And Andrew says there's a 35-second delay between submitting comments and the comments showing up on the live stream area. This would be a good time to point out that they don't automatically appear. When you're doing a live show on Facebook and people are commenting, as hosts of the show, we see the comments and we decide which ones show on screen. So what you're not seeing is a real-time display of the comments. I can display a comment more than once, and then I can display Andrew's latest comment, and I can take it off the screen and go back to a previous comment. Yeah, sorry.
So as a host, you control the comments that show up, and that's for good reason. I mean, you know, it's especially the more, the larger your audience grows, the more likely you are to have a troll or a heckler in the audience. Yeah. And so you can control whether or not those show up on the broadcast. Now, they'll still show up in the comment area unless you delete them, but they won't show up across the broadcasting area. So, you know, that's the reason for that. And I'm glad that they don't show up automatically. It would be overwhelming, I would imagine, to have them coming in when you have a large audience.
Well, the thing is, what you want to do and what you can do is you can actually show the comments in context. Because if somebody comments straight away and you've moved on the topic, then it gives better control and it helps to have a smoother show.
Right. And it helps our audience to know who we're responding to, right? So if there's lots of comments coming in, if we can put one on the screen and leave it there while we address it, then our audience knows what question or comment we are actually addressing. Like you said, it gives it the context. So yeah. I love the platform. And yes, there are still bugs and glitches. Some of that's on Facebook end and some of it's on the Be Live end, which is why we report these things so they're aware of them. But so do we want to move back a little bit to talking to repurposing content before we close? Since
yes, surely. Yeah. Okay.
It's not. One of the things that Tim mentioned that they do with their content, and Molly Mahoney's really good about doing this as well, is she will take the live, or in Tim's case, the produced video that they've done, and from that, they will pull out an ad or a commercial that they can use. Now, Molly literally, uses it as an ad. So she's doing paid advertising with content that she's pulled from live that she's done. And of course, they produce theirs. And so he's pulling a piece out and getting the chunk that he wants. And he's using that 2-minute piece to promote the show that's coming up or to promote the live that they do in between the shows. And so that's just another way of repurposing the content. You don't have to, particularly if you're mindful of this when you go live or when you get ready to do your piece that you're going to produce. If you already know in your head that you're going to be repurposing a piece of this for an ad, then it'll be there, it'll be ready to go, and you won't have to do a separate production for it. But even if you haven't planned it, you could probably still find, we could probably pull out of what we've done so far for our shows, pull pieces out and put together a promotional video for this show without having to start from scratch and create a piece for that.
That's a good, a show reel. That's a very good idea.
Exactly.
Indeed. Right. So, next week, when we post the show, we'll post a show reel underneath.
There we go.
And there we go. So that's our challenge for this week. We're gonna do that. As we said earlier, just going back to the topic, if you are interested in how we're doing this, then there is a program that Tina and I are running, which is called Be Live in 5, and that will teach you one-to-one mentoring how to go live on Be Live on face-to-face. And if you search that, you might find us, but you can contact Tina or I on Facebook and we'll help you find your way, and one of our friends will help you in a 15-minute personal session to go live on Be Live to Facebook. So
there's also a Udemy course, a free course.
So
if you want to go, it's also called Be Live in 5. So if you go to Udemy or if you reach out to us, and we'll put these links in the description after the show. And I think Stephen's probably going to put them in the comments, but you can go and watch this video. And for most people, particularly if you have any experience in doing live video on other platforms, the Udemy course may be all that you need to go live. Now, it will walk you through the mechanics, right? So you're going to have a really good idea of how everything functions before you come to us for mentoring. But people still oftentimes, even though they've figured out how to use the platform, they like to have a mentor because they want to have someone to walk through with them and to go live with them for the first time, because that really is the scariest thing for most people, is just that they're about to go live and they're doing it alone. So we're there to help you with that.
Yeah. Sorry, Tina.
I was just going to say, we had a comment about someone said they were excited about checking out repurpose.io. And speaking of Udemy courses, Stephen has a wonderful Udemy course on how to best to make the most of repurpose.io and with adding if this then that to it, so that you can actually do even more with the system. I actually took that course from Stephen because it's wonderful. I learned, learned a lot from it.
Thank you for the review.
You're welcome.
And Jordan, if we will, because we do enjoy doing this, but occasionally it's nice if there is some return. We will be posting. Tina will post her affiliate link for Repurpose.io, so that will get you straight into the system. And I will post a link with a special coupon just for you, with a discount on the course itself. So it's up to you whether you take advantage of those, but clicking the affiliate link just means that we get a link, which helps us to do what we do.
Absolutely.
Right, so we're not going to invert the commercial. We just really enjoy doing this. The whole rest and data for this show is repurposing, and Tina and I will be back at the same time next week. And I did the intro. I seem to remember that I did the opening of the show. So I think it's only fair.
Yes, I will do the close of the show. And so
thank you.
Thank you all for joining us today. Thank you, Tim Knox, for coming on and sticking with us through the technical difficulties. We have Tim's link, I think, in the description, and if not, we'll put that there after the show. Please check him out. He does some really fun things. The Digital Entrepreneur Show is going to be packed full of great information for anyone who's trying to get into business online. So make sure you check that out. Stephen, in addition to his many shows that there's no way I'm going to be able to list all of them, check him out on Udemy, because he's offering some wonderful courses there that are going to help you to get live. And that's really what his focus is on Udemy, is helping you make the most of this platform. And so you can find me here and on Shang Live. And I'm actually working with Stephen now to develop courses and to get myself over to onto Udemy, so that in addition to the show that I do, mostly I talk about social media and live video as well, and how you can use that for your business. So we welcome you to check us out on our other shows and platforms. And if you have subjects that you want to talk about, if you want to be on the show because you love repurposing, reach out to us. We'd love to have you on. We want to cover the things that are important to you. So let us know. And thank you for joining us today. We'll be back next Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. And what time is it where you are?
It's 5 p.m. British summertime, and the sun is shining, so it must be summer.
So
Take care, everybody.
Yeah.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye.